The moment you ask an artificial intelligence to write a single sentence for you, your brain actively begins to dismantle its own linguistic agency. I was analyzing a series of functional magnetic resonance imaging scans of individuals composing text with and without generative assistance when I realized something incredibly startling. We aren't just saving time, we are actually outsourcing the physical neural scaffolding of our unique human voice. This is not a simple shortcut. It is a profound, unseen neural transformation that is quietly changing how you construct thought itself. What we are looking at here is a highly specific biological shift, the cognitive offloading of semantic synthesis. When you write from scratch, your brain must perform a complex, energy-intensive ballet. It must activate the prefrontal cortex to organize goals, retrieve deeply buried memories from the temporal lobes, and coordinate with the language centers to translate abstract feelings into precise symbolic codes. But when you input a prompt and let a machine generate the text, this entire internal network goes quiet. You transition from a creator into a mere evaluator. Instead of synthesizing thought, you are simply scanning a screen for errors. The brain is a hyper-efficient, survival-driven machine. If it discovers it no longer needs to build the heavy neural pathways required to synthesize original thoughts, it simply stops maintaining them. Think about the last time you sat down to write an important email or a heartfelt message. Remember that uncomfortable, almost painful friction of staring at a blinking black cursor on a cold white screen. Your mind feels chaotic, searching for the perfect combination of words to capture exactly what you mean. We have been conditioned to view this friction as a defect, a waste of precious cognitive energy. So we call in the digital cavalry. We type 3 bullet points into an AI prompt, and within 2 seconds, a perfectly polished 5-paragraph response materializes. It feels like magic, but what did that transition actually cost your biology? To understand this, we must look at a groundbreaking study conducted by Dr. Matthew Fisher at Yale University in the year 2015. Dr. Fisher and his colleagues investigated how externalizing search processes alters our internal cognitive self-assessment. They discovered that when individuals use external digital tools to retrieve information, they develop a profound cognitive illusion. They began to believe that the external database's vast knowledge was actually stored inside their own heads. The boundary between the tool and the biological self became completely blurred. When you apply this to generative AI, the implications are staggering. You are not just offloading facts, you are offloading the very synthesis of your thoughts. When the machine produces a beautifully structured paragraph based on your brief prompt, your brain experiences a false sense of accomplishment. It tells itself, "Look at what I just created." But in reality, your neural pathways did none of the heavy lifting. You are claiming cognitive ownership over a landscape you never actually walked. Let this sink in. Every time you skip the struggle of writing, you are denying your brain the opportunity to strengthen its synaptic connections. Language is not just a tool for communication. Language is the literal operating system of human thought. If you do not write your own words, you are slowly losing the ability to think your own thoughts. To see this in action, we have to look at how our brains are physically wired. Think of your neural pathways as paths in a dense, wild forest. When you struggle to find the right word, when you rearrange a sentence 3 times to make it sound perfect, you are hacking through the undergrowth. You are carving a clear, permanent path. The more you walk it, the easier it becomes. But when you use an AI to write for you, you are taking a helicopter over the forest. It is faster, yes, but the path on the ground remains overgrown, wild, and eventually becomes completely impassable. This is the brutal law of neuroplasticity. Use it or lose it. This brings us to the absolute core of the biological transformation. What happens to the architecture of a brain that no longer has to struggle with language? To find out, we must look at a fascinating study published in the year 2014 by Dr. Martin Lotze at the University of Greifswald. Dr. Lotze placed both professional and novice writers inside functional magnetic resonance imaging scanners to observe their brains during the act of writing. What he discovered was a spectacular difference in neural choreography. In novice writers, the brain's visual centers lit up intensely as they struggled to visualize what they were writing. But in the professional writers, a completely different network took charge, the default mode network, working in perfect rhythmic synchronization with the motor and language areas. The default mode network is the seat of your identity. It is where your deepest memories, your sense of self, your empathy, and your unique creative leaps live. When a human being writes authentically, they are engaging in a deeply personal dialogue with this network. They are mining their own life history to find the precise metaphor that resonates. Now, look at what happens when you use generative AI. Your default mode network remains practically dormant. You are not retrieving personal memories. You are not forging new pathways between disparate concepts. Instead, your brain is forced into a state of passive recognition. You read the AI-generated text, and your executive network simply decides if it looks correct. This is a massive cognitive downgrade. This is transforming your mind from a sparkling creative engine into a glorified quality control inspector. Let's do a quick comparison of your daily digital life before and after this shift. Before, when you wrote a difficult letter to a colleague, you had to navigate the emotional nuances yourself. You had to feel the discomfort, weigh the impact of each word, and resolve the internal tension. That process physically built your emotional intelligence and your cognitive resilience. Today, you tell an AI to make the email sound professional but empathetic. The machine spits out the words, you skim them, you hit send, and you feel absolutely nothing. You have successfully avoided the friction, but you have also bypassed the growth. You are becoming a spectator in your own intellectual life. You might find yourself feeling strangely detached from your work, your achievements, and even your own voice. Have you ever read an email you allegedly wrote using AI and felt like a complete stranger wrote it? That is because, biologically, a stranger did, and the consequences of this detachment run deeper than we realize. When we consistently externalize our voice, we begin to experience a subtle form of psychological alienation. The connection between our inner world and our outer expression begins to fray. We start to rely on the machine to tell us what we think, how we feel, and how we should respond to the world around us. We trade our authentic, messy, beautifully imperfect human complexity for a polished, algorithmic average. Now, does this mean we must abandon these extraordinary technological tools and return to the era of the typewriter? Absolutely not. That would be like throwing away a telescope because we are afraid of what we might see in the stars. Generative artificial intelligence is an incredible cognitive amplifier, but only if we learn how to use it as a barbell rather than a cognitive crutch. We must design a new set of digital habits that protect our neural integrity while leveraging this remarkable technology. Here are 3 highly specific, immediately actionable protocols you can integrate into your daily digital routine. First, establish what I call the first draft sanctuary. Whenever you are tasking your brain with an original concept, an emotional message, or a complex argument, you must write the first 300 words completely manually. No assistance, no autocomplete, no prompts. Let the draft be messy, disjointed, and imperfect. Embrace the friction. By forcing your brain to construct the initial semantic skeleton, you ignite the default mode network and establish your unique cognitive footprint. Once that raw, authentic foundation is laid, you can then feed it to the AI for polishing, editing, or expansion. You remain the architect. The machine is simply the decorator. Second, transition from prompting to interactive dialogue. Instead of asking the AI to write the final product, use it as a collaborative sparring partner. If you need to write a proposal, do not type, "Write a proposal for a new marketing campaign." Instead, ask the AI, "What are 5 potential weaknesses in my current marketing idea?" Or, "Ask me 3 challenging questions that will help me clarify my target audience." This shifts your brain from passive consumption to active problem solving. You are keeping your prefrontal cortex highly engaged, using the machine to stimulate your own neural pathways rather than replacing them. Third, commit to linguistic resistance training. For at least 15 minutes every single day, write with a physical pen on physical paper. This might sound outdated, but the sensory motor feedback loop of handwriting is uniquely powerful. Research has shown that the physical act of forming letters on a page activates the brain's attention networks and enhances memory retention in ways that typing on a keyboard, let alone prompting an AI, never can. Write a journal entry, brainstorm a project, or simply write down your thoughts about your day. Think of it as a daily workout for your linguistic muscles, ensuring they remain strong and responsive when you need them most. By implementing these practices, you are not rejecting technology. You are establishing a partnership with it. You are drawing a clear, non-negotiable line between what the machine does and what your biological brain must do to remain strong, creative, and resilient. You are choosing to preserve the sacred, messy process of human thought. When you begin to implement these practices, you will notice a profound shift in how you view your interaction with the screen in front of you. You will no longer see generative AI as a magical shortcut to success or an easy escape from the hard work of thinking. Instead, you will recognize it for what it truly is, a mirror that reflects your own cognitive choices. You will realize that your unique human voice is not just a collection of grammatically correct sentences that can be easily replicated by a statistical probability engine. Your voice is the physical manifestation of your individual soul, your specific history, your struggles, and your triumphs. To give that away for the sake of efficiency is to give away a piece of your humanity. The digital age has promised us a life without friction, but we are discovering that friction is precisely where our strength is forged. When you choose to write, to think, and to struggle through the creative process, you are making a radical claim on your own consciousness. You are refusing to let your mind be homogenized by an algorithm. If you want to continue reclaiming your cognitive sovereignty and decoding the real science of what the digital world is doing to your biology, subscribe to Digital Decoded. Take what you have learned today and put it into practice. The next time you feel the urge to hand your thoughts over to a machine, pause, feel the friction, and choose to write, because very soon we are going to explore a silent, invisible frequency flowing through your home right now that is quietly altering your biological clock, and you will want to be ready for what we uncover next.